Okay, the first thing you need to do in this PowerPoint, which is going to be based around a wife in London, is actually to record the 3 key quotations for Cozy Apologia, which is by Rita Dove. Those 3 key words that you should have learnt are glinting, teenage, and content. So try and write down what that quotation is, any notes and ideas that you can to try and explain it, and ideally try and link it back to the story of what that poem is about using the 5 W's if you can. War often deals with loss. Now, that loss is usually about soldiers, about battles, often in a scale of hundreds, thousands, or even sometimes millions. This poem also focuses on loss, and it's an anti-war poem, but it doesn't focus about the loss of many, many soldiers. It focuses about loss in terms of one couple and their relationship, and what that loss does to that couple and their relationship. And it's focused on what it does to the wife. The tragedy. She sits in the tawny vapour that the city lanes have uprolled, behind whose webby fold on fold, like a waning taper, the street lamp glimmers cold. A messenger's knock cracks smartly, flash news is in her hand, of meaning it dazes to understand, though shaped so shortly, he has fallen in the far south land. The irony. 'Tis the morrow, the fog hangs thicker, the postman nears and goes, a letter is brought whose lines disclose, by the firelight flicker, his hand, whom the worm now knows. Fresh, firm, penned in highest feather, page full of his hope return, and of home-planned jaunts by break and burn, in the summer weather, and of new love that they would learn. It's important to know in this poem that the soldier has died in what's called the far south land. This refers to the Boer War, which has been fought in South Africa. Now, this creates a big geographical distance between the couple, and so when he dies, he's a long way away, and it makes the wife feel even more lonely and more vulnerable, which is why you've got the vapour, the fog, which is mentioned at the start. So although context isn't always relevant, it's quite relevant here because you need to know what war it's set in and roughly when that was. The first key quotation deals with the tawny vapour. Now, this refers to the fog or the smog which surrounds London at this time. It's called tawny, which is referring to its colour. It's going to be sort of orangey brown and full of pollution. But that's not the main thing that you want to analyse. What you want to analyse is the fact that it represents sadness. It's a form of pathetic fallacy. And what that says about her, she's alone, she's vulnerable, her husband's not there, and the writer is basically showing how this is completely tragic and shouldn't happen. It's obviously an anti-war poem because it looks at what it does to people and their lives and their relationships. He's fallen in the far south land on the second key quotation. You can see how the dashes there indicate a pause. It's almost as if she's struggling to take this information in when she's given it, and he's far away. And so again, she feels lonely, she feels vulnerable. At the bottom, the tragedy and the irony comes through in that the husband has now died and is buried, and so the hand that wrote the letter, which was longing for her, that hand is now only known by the worm because he's now buried in the ground dead. Now you've reached the end of this recording, you want to focus on those 3 key words, which are vapour, fallen and worm. Try and write down roughly the quotation which they refer to, any notes and ideas you can remember about what those quotations mean, and try and hook it into the story of the poem using the 5 Ws.